Greetings, Virtual Village family. How are you all doing this evening? I hope you all are doing well. You all see that it's Community Connector night, and so I have beside me my wonderful co-host, Mr. Rodney Jordan. How are you doing this evening, Mr. Jordan?
I am looking forward to some affirmation and all the uplifting spiritual activities that we do here on the Virtual Village tonight. So I need the motivation, but I'm always enthused about being here.
Excellent, excellent. And we are here to motivate. So I'm glad you are feeling that. And anybody who tuned in and doesn't know about that, then yes, we are definitely here to motivate. We are your one-stop culture and literacy shop. Okay. So you just stop right here. You get the affirmations, you get the culture, you get the history, you get the literacy, all of those wonderful things. And, it's brought to you by the Literacy Gang. We are all proud members of the Literacy Gang. I don't think our theme song could have said it any better. We do our own thing. We got our own slang. We flex different because we're the Literacy Gang, okay? I absolutely love it. And as Rodney alluded to, we are in for a wonderful night tonight. So make sure if you're tuned in right now, you click that share button. Tuesdays are about community connection. So we always bring somebody from the community on here who is going to read along with us. So tonight we have a very special guest, somebody doing great work in the community. I just love what he does, and the organizations and movements that he's a part of are super important, but I can't give you all of that just yet. You got to stay tuned in to find out who it is. And then Rodney, let them know you said you're ready to be affirmed. So what's that all about? What's coming up? Who's getting ready to affirm us?
Well, we are still in the midst of a pandemic, and we're out there trying to make sure that that our community is healthy and well and getting vaccinated, and that our students who may be returning or already in person, that they are supported. So, I have the honor of hearing from parents and teachers and principals and just folks out there working real hard, trying to make sure that our students are getting what they need. And sometimes I just try to make myself available as a listening ear for some of the challenges that they face. And so today I heard some challenges that many in the community are facing. And sometimes, it takes something, as you give and try to be supportive, but I'm always thankful to be able to come up here tonight and get that rejuvenation. And also, as I was talking to folks today, I told them, well, what y'all need to do is come on tonight at 7 p.m. and join in with the Literacy Gang and get motivated and get focused on some literacy and talk to some people that are willing to provide you with some support. So I am doing what I was telling others to do at the same time.
Definitely, you are. You're definitely a listening ear. I think that listening ear was part of the way that all of this began. Yes. Someone may have called you frantically. I don't know who that was, but from those frantic phone calls, beautiful things come as a result of that. I think you are a listener and a problem solver a lot of times. So I think that is really wonderful. As you said, it's time for us to be affirmed, and it's still Black History Month. Although we are always about this history and culture 365 days of the year, let's not forget that it is still February. It's still Black History Month. So it's time for you to get affirmed, and it's time for you to get this history, okay? So let's run it. Let's get it.
Greetings, virtual villagers. My name is Shania, and do you know what time it is? It's affirmation time! Time to remind ourselves how great we are. So everybody, repeat after me. I am smart. I have purpose. I am confident. I am valuable. My voice is worthy of being heard. I am an asset to my family, school, and community. I respect myself and I respect others. I am beautifully made inside and out. I love my beautiful hair and I love my beautiful brown skin. I am more than enough. Great job, virtual villagers. Can I get a virtual high five? Great job. And always remember how fantastic you are.
Hi, virtual villagers. I'm Kalia, and this is today's moment in history. Ella Baker. Born in Norfolk, Virginia, Ella Baker was an American civil rights and human rights activist best known for helping found the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, or SNCC. Her career spanned over 5 decades, and she is considered by many to be one of the most important women of the 20th century. Baker criticized professionalized charismatic leadership. She promoted grassroots organizing, radical democracy, and the ability of the oppressed to understand their world and advocate for themselves. She spent the 1940s traveling across small towns convincing ordinary Black citizens who had been enslaved and terrorized for more than 200 years to join together and peaceably insist that they were deserving of basic human rights. She realized this vision most fully in the 1960s as the primary advisor and strategist of the SNCC. Baker is known for her critique not only of racism within American culture, but also sexism within the civil rights movement.
The Virtual Village Show is back with Season 4, starting February 1st every Monday through Wednesday. The Virtual Village is ready to inspire all ages. Our industry-leading teachers are here to reinforce foundational literacy skills, provide culturally affirming literature, and we have exciting Black History facts for the entire family. Log on today at clevercommunities.org or visit our social media pages.
After the holidays are over, most Americans prepare for taxes. Titan Tax is ready to make filing your taxes as stress-free as possible. This veteran-owned virtual tax office will prepare and submit your tax return safely from the comfort of your home. If you filed unemployment for the first time or wondering about home office tax deductions, Titan Tax Professional has the answer for you. Contact us today at TitanTax.com or 757-565-7781. Titan Tax, real help from real people.
All right. So are you feeling affirmed now? Is your mood up exponentially?
Yes. You know, Shania does it every time, so I'm good to go. So yes, ma'am.
She delivers every time. It's always wonderful. And we have Unreal Artist here who said tough, tough. He said that Shania is tough. Definitely. And then Kalia comes through with the moment in history. And those are super important, you all. We are providing these short clips about historic figures or historic events in Black history, which is, United States history, world history. It has impacted everyone in so many positive ways. And so, again, it's February. It's still Black History Month. And like we said, we provide this history 365 days of the year. But a lot of the Black History Month chatter seems to have calmed down as we get toward the end of February. So, keep it up. It's Black History Month, and then keep it going on after February. And our goal with these moments in history is to bring people who you may not be aware of, or if it is people who you are aware of, to share aspects of them they usually are not spoken of in mainstream media or classrooms. Yesterday, it was Dr. King. And Kalia told some things about him that I think most people are not aware of. And tonight it's Ella Baker. And Rodney and I will get more into Sister Ella Baker after we have our community connector. So we're excited about this guest we have coming up. Community, you know, our organization is Clever Communities in Action. And community consists of people, you know, all types of people. And in this community, positive people doing wonderful things, real people who are committed to the advancement of our youth and the uplift of community at large. So we're always introducing you all to wonderful, positive people so you can learn about other movements that are going on. I think a lot of times the media shows us the grim, the negative, or we think, well, things aren't happening today like they should. Well, there's a lot of great work being done, and it may not be in the, it may not be all plastered around social media. It may not be in the mainstream news, but it's happening. It's going down, and we are here to present that. So before we introduce our community connector, was there anything that you wanted to share, Rodney?
No, like I said before, I'm just enthused about being here. But I think you made a profound point in what I love about what Clever Communities Action is in action is all about, and also what this program is all about. So you are providing that platform to share that information and to make that community connection. So I just want to encourage people to share it. And then I also just want to say how much I appreciate the history clips. And so when they come up, they are very informative. They're young people that can speak to other young people. And so I also want to just encourage our viewers and our listeners to also share those clips, because I think it's great how we're able to get those in the 30 to 60 second snapshots that they're provided. So I just want to thank you for doing that and your vision behind that.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And to your point, we share those clips from last season every day. So if you are on Clever Communities in Action's Facebook page, which make sure you have liked that, then you can find those Black History clips by themselves and you are free to share them. And we hope that you are sitting around with the young people or whatever age of people in your lives and dissecting those, going through those and letting that be a foundation for you to learn more. Also, we do on Mondays and Wednesdays, we have a book recommendation. So whomever that moment in history is about, then we suggest a book that you can purchase. A lot of times this season, it's been a book for parents, because the more you know, the more you can teach your children. And sometimes it's a children's book. But on Tuesdays, Rodney and I go back and we dissect a children's book about that historic figure. So either way you go, we are providing you some further reading material. So with that said, we are going to move on to our community connector for the night. We are super excited to have this brother. Like I said, I am a witness to the work that he and his team does, his colleagues. They are doing great things. And I participated in quite a few of those things. His hands are in quite a few things. And it's all positive. It's all positive. He can tell y'all about it better than I can. But tonight we have a retired Army Lieutenant Colonel who is 27 years of service. He is a proud member of the Omega Psi Phi fraternity in Virginia Beach. And he is also the current director of the Golden Fold, which is a mentorship group for boys. And he's been that for 3 years now. Like I said, he can tell you about it better than we can. But without further ado, we want to bring on the fantastic Brother Abdul Wallace.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for having me. I'm glad to be here. Yes, wonderful. As Star said, name's Abdul Wallace, and I've been a part of the Golden Fold since I would say about maybe 15 years or more. So I'm honored to I have the honor of being the director for the past 3 years. The Golden Fold is a mentorship program, as Star stated, under Gamma Xi chapter, Omega Psi Phi fraternity, located here in Virginia Beach. We mentor young men from grades of 6 to 12 grade. And we're planning on probably trying to reach out this summer to keep it going with the pandemic going on and this virtual learning and everything happening. We kind of missed our boy a lot. We meet every first Saturday of the month through a virtual session. A little bit more about the program. We consider ourselves a Brothers and Others community activity under Gamma Xi and the Uplift Foundation. The Uplift Foundation supports us monetarily, and our young men before the pandemic, we would get out there and we'll help the chapter pass out food baskets. We raise money for blood banks. Every Christmas and Thanksgiving, we pass meals. This year, we just passed out turkeys, but we couldn't have too many people together and put them all in the car. But we've been doing that. I've been doing it with the group for about 15 years. Another thing that we do, stress with our young men, is we have a thing that we call a lamplight concept. And that consists of sound adulthood, scholarship, endurance, and uplift. We challenge these guys at every chance we get. Try to make them understand that, you have to be strong. You have to care. You can't be selfish. We want selfless service. And that's why we work with the community as much as we can with our young men. We challenge them on their education. Several sessions. We try to pull them out of that shyness. A lot of our guys want to just sit back and be shy. A little bit like myself. But we push them and challenge them at every turn that we get. Next week, we'll be talking with our young men. This coming Saturday, we'll be talking with Amin coming on, and he'll be talking about HBCUs, pros and the cons. HBCUs is not for everyone. And we need to show that we can participate in any aspect of college or education at all levels, whether it's an HBCU or a traditional college, so to speak. And then we're going to go into a STEM program with our young men. And that's what will be our challenge for them this coming weekend. I said a lot.
Yes, and I want to say that and I'm familiar with the Golden Fold, and I think it's a testament. A lot of times people say, well, Black men aren't doing this or Black men aren't doing that. And I see with the Omegas, a large group of brothers who, with the things that you all do with Golden Fold, the things that you all have done with the African American Male Summit, I see y'all showing up in so many ways for our boys. And I see you all instilling so many values with them. I had the pleasure back, I think it was in January, the early part of January, to be on one of your Saturday calls and to speak. And I saw these young brothers up in the morning, tuned in, and the camaraderie that you all have for them, the support that you have, the routine and discipline that is there in a good way, not in a regimented way, but something that, builds character and strength. There's just a lot going on. And then I look at the program and tell me if I'm wrong, but also I've had the pleasure of being a keynote speaker for one of the graduations that you all had. And it's like a rite of passage. And that's what I love. Like, I fell in love with it. And so I am like on call for the Golden Fold. Like, anytime they call me, I'm like, I gotta move stuff around, whatever, because I am here for the work that you all are doing, because I think that it is extremely important. I see that it works. I see it affirming our young boys, and they need it. The last call that I was on, you all touched on mental health. And I was like, the young brothers in there were comfortable with discussing that. You all were comfortable with it. It was just open. It was everything. It was everything. Like, so let me stop, because I'm a fan and I'm going on a fan tirade. I just want to, add my little 2 cents about it. And I just love it.
I appreciate it. We all appreciate that too. Thank you very much. Yes.
You are extremely welcome.
The crossing the bar ceremony was the one that you spoke in.
The bar,
remember that?
The crossing the bar ceremony. Yes. Oh, that was beautiful. Yes, that whole thing was just profound. Yeah. So maybe after you read
Congratulations to the boys.
I think we're having a little delay here. Hopefully we can try to get that worked out. But I was saying, after you read, because you're going to read for us tonight, I'd love for you to share a little bit more about that crossing the bar ceremony and exactly, what that is, what led up to that, and then what that ceremony actually is. But first, we want you to sink into this, Black children's book that you have tonight. So what selection did you bring? We're always excited to see what our guests bring.
Well, I brought this book because I think it's very important that we start speaking to our children about family wealth, generational wealth. So it's called The Trip to the Building. Those are twins right there. And their father owns a apartment building. So that's what it's based on that. So I'm ready when you are.
All right. And I think we have some family members, some Virtual Village family who are cheering you on. Before we go, let's give you this love. We have Miss Gaynor who says, "Hey, Virtual Village family." And then we have Miss Starks who says, "Hello, Literacy Gang. Welcome to you all both." And you guys sit back, get comfortable, and Brother Abdul is about to read to us. So here we go.
All right. My book today is called Trip to the Building, written by James Morris Jr. Now, the young men, the twins, are called Camden and Langston. Get that right? Y'all see there? Okay. Now, here's a tool site. When you work at a building or what have you, you got to have your tools, right? Now, let's get started. On the first day of each month, Mr. Moore's plan was the same. He would put on his clothes, boots, and tools, but this day he noticed something a little strange. He could see from across the room that his tools were rearranged. Mr. Morris went to look for the twins in their room. There stood Langston in front of the mirror. Langston was wearing his tool belt, and Camden's demeanor had changed. Camden was pacing around the room, calling himself Mr. Morris. Mr. Morris smiled and said, "One day, all that you see will be yours. Get your jackets. We are going for a ride. It is time for your first property tour." Where are we going?" asked the boys. Mr. Morris replied, "We are going to the building to do some chores, and for you to see what will soon be yours." Here is what you do. Arrive early in the morning before the tenants can spend their pay. Knock 3 times on the door, and this is what you say. "Today is the day that I collect your pay. No ifs, ands, or buts. I only want to hear you say okay." Knock, knock, knock. A voice on the other side of the door said, "Tell him I don't have his money and to return another day." "Fair enough," says Mr. Morris. "I will catch him before he gets away. But most importantly, enjoy your day." Knock, knock, knock. The crew dashed up the stairs and went to the next door. 3 knocks on the door, and Mr. Morris said, "Today is the day that I collect your pay. No ifs, ands, or buts. I only want to hear you say okay." The tenant replied, I have your rent, but annoying drip drip. It's really not fair. Please stop the drip with one of your trusty repairs. Mr. Morris said, don't worry, just stop and think. Bring my tools and place them next to the sink. Dad said, Dad said, Camden, what do you need? I'm ready to listen and take your heed. Okay, said Mr. Morris, put on your gloves before you proceed. Now hand me the tool that you think I will need. I do not know, Langston replied. Please tell me what you need. I need the monkey wrench, Mr. Morris said. Grab it from the toolbox and set it on the bench. Where's the monkey and what's a wrench? Asked Camden. Mr. Morris replied, the wrench is silver and is used to twist and turn. Pay attention so you can learn. But I don't know which way to turn the wrench, said Camden. The way to remember when something is tight is lefty-loosey and righty-tighty, instructed Mr. Morris, but not too tight, because if it breaks, we will be here all night. After completing the repair, they dashed up the stairs to the next tenant door. 3 knocks on the door, and they yelled out together, today is the day that I collect your pay. No ifs, ands, or buts. I only want to hear you say okay. The tenant said, I have your rent, but before it is spent, my door is bothering me, and I am not content. It creaks at night, and I awake in a fright. Dad, Langston asked, what tool do you need? I am ready to learn this indeed. Mr. Morris replied, I like your eagerness, little man. Grab the oil that's in the can. Spray all the hinges with the oil and do the same to that noisy coil. The repair is done, no worries anymore, and they dashed up the stairs to the final floor. 3 knocks on the door, and you heard them say, today is the day that I collect your pay. No ifs, ands, or buts. I only want to hear you say, okay. The tenant said, I have your rent, but this frame is bent. Dad, what tool do we use? Langston asked. A hammer and nail will work very well. Just bang, bang, bang until you remove the swell. Dad, what does it look like? You know, I love to bang, said Camden. It's long with a metal head and is made to pound. Don't be frightened by the loud sound. Keep striking and striking it until you no longer see the swell, said Mr. Morris. The repair is complete. No worries anymore. They dashed up the stairs, but stopped because the banister had fallen on the floor. Who would do such a thing? They could have called, but my phone didn't ring, said Mr. Morris. Don't worry, we can fix it. Camden said, just tell me how and with which thing. That thing would be a screwdriver and grab 3 long screws. The screwdriver will be at the bottom of the toolbox, along with the rest of the tool, Mr. Morris said. Dad, what's a screwdriver? Camden asked. Mr. Morris explains, the screwdriver is long with an X-shaped tip. It matches the screw's head and has the yellow rubber grip. Righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. I am proud of you boys, but it's getting late. The twins asked, what about the guy who told us to wait? Mr. Morris said, there's always tomorrow, no need to debate. But I did leave a 5-day notice with his mate. I had fun today, especially when we collected the pay, Camden exclaimed. I think our name should be KLM, Langston protests. I'm the oldest, Camden, so I get the last say. The name will be LKM. Let's keep that straight. Then they show the illustrations of the tools again. Handyman. And that is the end. Now, let me say a little bit something about the author. James Morris Jr. was born and raised in Chicago, Illinois. He is an economist for the federal government, an investor, and a real estate coach for new investors interested in property ownership. James earned a Bachelor of Science degree in economics from the University of Illinois at Irving-Champaign. He is the father of 3 intelligent children. Their names are Langston, Camden, and Carrington, his daughter. Knowing the importance of educating his children about property ownership, investing, and financial literacy, and generational wealth, he began writing a series of children's books that will reflect children of color and the importance of building generational wealth. James hopes that his books inspires parents to understand the importance of financial literacy for themselves and their children. That's a picture of Mr. Morris. Thank you for listening. Any questions?
Awesome. That was a wonderful story. We definitely enjoyed that. And so that's a book that we have on our list. And I haven't had the chance to really dissect that one. And so I'm glad that you read that tonight. I really enjoyed it. Children learn so much from modeling, from jumping in what they see. You know, these children got to follow their father around, and it taught them a lot of great useful things that people are still trying to figure out as adults. So that head start in life with that is super important, and the value of all kinds of entrepreneurship and vocation and different things that we don't pay attention to more. So I think that was great, and also we make a point to do a well-rounded type of book reading here. So the books where we learn about historic figures and historic events are super important, but also books with Black children shadowing their father, learning about finance, learning about how to, be handy, all of these different things that are real life situations that children can be confronted with now are important. And another thing, if a child does not have a father who she or he can shadow in that way, that book provides that experience for them, and it gives them an idea, of someone who they possibly could, or nonetheless it exposes them. So I like that selection. What were your thoughts on it, Rodney?
Well, I thought it was a perfect selection. To me, it fits right with the work of the Golden Fold. It has some mentoring in there. As you said, it has some modeling, has some teaching. It has some brothers working together. So to me, it was a perfect choice. I enjoyed the selection, and I'm glad that's what you chose to share with us this evening.
Yes, and to your point with it being like the Golden Fold, as we were saying before, Abdul, if you could just briefly tell us a little bit about the what is it? What was it called again?
Crossing the bar ceremony.
Yes. Could you tell us a little bit about that, like what the lead up to that is, and what that ceremony is, what it does, what it stands for?
Yeah, sure. I'll be glad to. That ceremony, crossing the bar, the participants in it are our seniors. So from the beginning of coming into our program, which we had some of our guys been with us ever since the 6th grade, and comes to when they're ready to graduate from high school, they're crossing the bar. We also have other individuals that are graduating from high school that have won scholarships from Gamma Xi, Omega Psi Phi chapter in Virginia Beach. So they're all there with their parents, mothers and fathers. They're all there. The program is put together by our young men. We get them to do most of the emceeing and everything as much as possible. And the bar ceremony itself is bringing them into adulthood. The parents come and stand side by side of their child, and we go over some different rituals, African rituals, with them. And for instance, when we tell the parent to do this, they repeat after us and they do these things. For instance, we will say, parents, put your hand over your child's eyes. And the parents will cover the child's eyes. And we would say something to the sense of, I don't have it in front of me and never memorized it, to the sense of, protect my child's eyes so he may only see what is important and passionate in life so he can succeed and help others. And we'll go on to that with on the forehead. Protect my child's forehead. And it goes on to chest, hands, heart, chest. I wish I would have had it in front of me. I could tell you the whole thing. It's a beautiful ceremony that it touches the parents, touches that child, and they hug it in. And Seiko, as he would say, safe journey at the end.
Yes, it's a beautiful thing. I think I did like shed some tears because I know what you all do, Seiko, you, the whole crew. It's always great, but I didn't quite know what I was in. I mean, you show up and it's gonna be good, but I didn't know exactly what it was. And when I witnessed that, I was like, oh my God, like this is wonderful. This is so important. So I want to make sure before you leave tonight that you let people know if they are interested in learning more about the Golden Fold. Please share with us, what is the contact information?
Yes, it's 2 ways you can contact us. If you go on to Gamma Xi Q's, just Google Gamma Xi Q's, and that'll give you the chapter's website. And you'll see Golden Fold events and everything the chapter does. If you go into Golden Fold blog, goldenfold.blogspot.com, or just Google Golden Fold blog, that would bring up the pictures of the last ceremonies that we had, to show you a little bit about the crossing the bar ceremony. It'll give you contact information. You can email us on both sites. It'll be a place where you can email, and they will send the email directly to me. And we're still accepting people right now. Cut it off.
Gamma, I'm sorry. Could you spell the Gamma?
Gamma Xi, GAMMA XI Q-U-E-S. Amazon Q's is .org, I believe.
Awesome. Well, that is great because I'm sure some people are going to be inquiring about that. I get so many people reaching out to me wanting mentorship for their boys, and I'm always like, go to Fold. If you are if you are near Virginia Beach, if you're in the Virginia Beach area, it's like Golden Fold all the time. So definitely. And we appreciate you coming. We appreciate the work that you do. We appreciate the story that you read. And we're just wishing you all well, like with what you do, and know that Clever Communities in Action, we are here for you guys all the time. We are all about these partnerships. And let's just keep this great work going. And was there anything? Oh, wait. Y'all almost, Ryan, you almost let me forget.
I wasn't going to let you forget.
So before you can go, we have to induct you into the literacy game. Okay. So I want to let you know that you are now officially a member of the literacy gang. This gang is based on a love of literacy, culture, community, self, and each other. And now that you are part of this gang, you cannot escape this gang. You are going to get this love. You are going to get this community anytime, all the time. And you are welcome back anytime. So everybody, drum roll, African drums, please. You are in the literacy gang. Boom, gang. Welcome.
Thank you.
You are definitely welcome. We are glad to have you as a new member. And like I said, you are welcome back here anytime. Again, we appreciate you. And was there anything that you would like to share with the Virtual Village family?
How do I get this shirt?
How do you get the shirt? The shirts are on sale now.
Get my shirt,
actually, you guys. The shirts are on sale. Yes. So let me see. Let's put if you guys can run it up there, the link. It is oh my goodness, it escaped me. There it is. Boom. So you can go to clevercommunities.org/official and you can order your very own Literacy Gang t-shirt. Right now we are accepting pre-orders over the next 2 weeks. And then once we get all of our pre-orders in, we are going to ship these babies out. So that is how you can get your Literacy Gang shirt. And we love to see our members represent.
Yes. Did you get our shirt? Did you get your Golden Fold shirt?
Yeah. No, I don't have one.
All right. I mailed it. We'll talk.
I didn't get it. Let's talk about that. Let's figure that out. And you have a shirt for me. I have a shirt for you. Yeah. We'll definitely work that out because I want my Golden Fold shirt. I definitely want to represent. So I will be in touch and we will figure that one out. And again, I appreciate you coming on. We'll get this shirt situation and everybody, give it up for Brother Abdul. He came through tonight, shared some wonderful things with us, and we are so glad to have him here. So thank you. And we look forward to having you back. You have a great evening. All right. Well, that was wonderful. I enjoyed the book. I, always enjoy hearing about Golden Fold, and that work with our young brothers is super important. And like I said, I've seen it in various aspects. And those Omegas, they show up. The Omegas would be in the building like the NOI. It's thick up in there all the time. I have seen them so many places, and I find it. I know quite a few of those brothers, and it's comforting when I see. A lot of times in those spaces, it's things that are for, male mentorship. And I end up being in there and I'm like, it's some good brothers up in here. I love seeing that. I definitely do. So
absolutely. Yeah, I was experiencing a little bit of a delay. So I didn't want to cause, more delays with the conversation going back and forth. But, what the Omegas do, it has a personal connection to me. I didn't do much as a young person with the Virginia Beach chapter, but over at Norfolk State University, Dr. Melvin O. Smith was an active Omega, in, I think it was the Lambda Omega chapter. And so, and now mind you, I'm talking about, 40 years ago, if not longer. And Dr. M. Boyd Jones, who was the principal at in Prince Edward County when they had the walkout. I hear so much about Barbara Johns being involved in it, but they were doing mentoring, and I can remember during the summer and going to their house, and Dr. Melvin O. Smith's house, and the Omegas were there, and they worked with us on many of these same skills that I hear the Golden Fold is doing today. So there's that special connection, and just great to see that legacy is continuing and that they've expanded it, and all the other things that they've just added into it with the rites of passage and manhood training and so forth. So I agree with you. The Omegas have been on it for a very long time. They show up in force, and the fact that they're doing that type of mentoring is critical for our students and our children. So I'm thankful for the work that they do.
Definitely. And I think a lot of times when people hear Omega, there are other things that are associated with that. But I feel like that's not they need, like, you got to give them the props for that. Like, definitely have to give them the props for that, because I am not joking. They are deep. A bunch of Black men showing up to, mentor our youth. They will be deep up in the building. So yes, that is great. And I love hearing that you, that I'm coming in on, it's a continued legacy that's just been going on. And now they're raising up these younger ones who are going to continue the work. So that is great. So right now, you guys, it's not over. We started off with our affirmation and our moment in history, and then we have our community connector come on and do all the wonderful things that he did. So now we're going to have a brief word from our sponsors, and our young people are going to bring you with some things, and then Rodney and I are coming back, and we are going to elaborate on Sister Ella Baker, because you need to know all about her. All right. So here we go.
Cammie's Closet, Cammie's Closet, Cammie's Closet, an upscale resale clothing, vintage clothing, handbag, and shoes online store. Cammie's Closet, spelled with a K, not with a T, is a small upscale resale boutique that carry gently used name brand clothing, vintage clothing, shoes, and handbags. Cammie's Closet is all about rediscovering, upcycling, and selling clothes of all kinds. Cammie's Closet believes it's an underappreciated form of clothing, and they started a win-win for everyone. The true value of resale. Cammie's Closet is very aficionado, passionate about rediscovering, upcycling, and reselling upscale resale and vintage clothing of all kinds. Go to cammiescloset.com. That's K, not a T, A-M-I-S-K, not a C, L-O-S-E-T. cammiescloset.com.
Greetings, virtual villagers. I am Peyton, and today's quote is from Ella Baker. Give light and people will find a way.
Smart kids make our world better. At Heavenly Hearts, we believe that the right foundation is key to our future leader success. With our 4 key learning principles, which are inclusive learning environment, early exposure to financial literacy, community engagement, science and technology with engineering, art, and math labs, will enrich each one of our future leaders as well as the community they are part of. In these unprecedented times, the $59 billion childcare industry has been dramatically impacted by the pandemic. Heavenly Hearts has currently implemented several advanced health and safety precautions to protect our children and staff at our current licensed facility in Chesapeake, Virginia. Our new location will continue to use advanced technology to protect our children from this and future threats to their health and safety. As our mission is to educate, empower, and equip our students with the necessary foundation to be holistically successful throughout life, we invite you to get involved. As an investor or community partner, you can help in a variety of ways. Contact Serena Mann at 757-254-8156.
All right. So as you guys are checking out our sponsors, let's see. We have a comment from Abdul. He said that was fun. Thanks for having me. We appreciate it. Glad you enjoyed it. I think that's some love for Abdul, some Unreal Artists that vibe pop pop, but we definitely enjoyed having you as well. Definitely some great information there, and we enjoyed that selection that you read. And also, you guys, as you check out these commercials that we have, these are Black businesses. So make sure you pay attention to the commercials, and we have people telling, accountants who are doing taxes. We have people who have, some fits for you to wear, some threads. We have daycare needs. It's quite a few. We have some realtors on here, wonderful people who are supporting this programming. So, pay attention to the commercials because these are people within our community. Some are local, some are not, but they are pouring love into this programming that we're doing. And we want you to become acclimated with those businesses and definitely support those businesses. That is a part of our mission, all right? And we hope that it is a part of yours. So with that said, we are going to get in this discussion about Sister Ella Baker. Again, when we have our moments in history, it is designed for us to learn about people who we may not hear much about, the people who, we talk all the time about in school. You learn about the same 3, 4, 5 people over and over again. So we try to move away from those. And again, if we do mention those, then trust we're going to bring up aspects of them that you're not hearing about in mainstream. So tonight it is about our moment in history is about Ella Baker and what she did. How many of you all are already familiar with Sister Ella Baker? If you are, please drop it in the chat and let us know. You can say yes, you can say no. This is a no judgment zone. This is a learning zone, all right? So you can say yes, you can say no, or you can tell us what you do know about her. But if you do or do not know anything about Ella Baker, please let us know right now in the chat. And so the book that we have tonight is called We Who Believe in Freedom. And it is The Life and Times of Ella Baker by Leah E. Williams. And so we don't have time to go all great picture there. Great picture there. So we don't have time to go through the whole book, but we are going to read the introduction and we'll have a little bit of discussion about her, Rodney and I. And I was joking, Rodney, when we were backstage, because he is so wonderful about acknowledging what Black women have done in the movement. Like Rodney is really great at that. Oh, we have Jameer. Jameer said he knows who she is. Excellent. We're not surprised that you do know Jameer. But we are not surprised at all, but we appreciate the enthusiasm and for you letting us know, because we know that he does have a genuine enthusiasm behind this work and behind these people. And Jameer is one of our young people who understands why this is important, the connection, how this has everything to do with today and 50 years from now. So let's go with this intro. Rodney, I'll kick it off and then you can do the next page and the next page, and we'll just read this intro and say a few words about it. So we hope you guys are tuned into this to learn something about Ella Baker. So the introduction says, Ella Josephine Baker was 57 years old when 4 freshmen from North Carolina Agricultural and Technical College, that's North Carolina A&T, sat down at the whites-only Woolworth lunch counter in downtown Greensboro, North Carolina, ordered coffee, and were refused service. The date was February 1st, 1960. Over the next several weeks and months, Ella Baker watched as sit-ins spread throughout the South. With her considerable knowledge of protest movements, she instinctively sensed that the spontaneous acts of civil disobedience had tremendous potential and had ignited the fires of youth-led protests. The relationship that developed between Baker and the students was one of the most gratifying of her life. You can take it from there.
I shall do. In the years before the sit-ins, Baker had acquired a national reputation in civil rights circles as an expert in community organizing. In fact, colleagues said that she was the most capable organizer in the movement. Since she had expertise to offer, she invited the sit-in student leaders to a conference to discover more about them and the kind of help they might need. While initial victories had animated the sit-in leaders, it was obvious to Baker that They were new to leading mass action campaigns. Not only were the students politically naive, the majority were uninformed about the underlying historical and philosophical foundations of social justice movements. They also lacked the financial and technical resources needed over the long haul to sustain momentum. However, with Baker's assistance and encouragement, the students formed their own independent organization and named it the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, pronounced SNCC. In addition to becoming a mentor, friend, and trusted advisor to the group, Baker also helped with logistics. She secured office space and recruited talented staff from her wide circle of movement contacts. Without her connections, her protective advocacy, and her steadying hand, SNCC would have floundered.
Over the course of her decades of fighting for civil rights, Ella Baker enriched the lives of Harlem, New York youth through public library programs, coordinated major membership campaigns for the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, or the NAACP, as most of us know it, and helped launch the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, or SCLC, after the jubilant victory of the Montgomery, Alabama bus boycott in 1956. Baker had a genius and special gift for getting ordinary people to achieve extraordinary deeds. Leadership training was fundamental to her method, as was empowering hardworking, everyday folks, many with little education and no formal leadership experience, to fight for their rights at the risk of bodily harm, swift reprisals, and violent retribution from whites. Offering training opportunities was how Baker embedded expertise in communities and in organizations. This community-based expertise could grow, become firmly established, and reside locally long after Baker and other movement volunteers had left. Molded by her Southern background, shaped in strong Baptist teachings, groomed for leadership at Black schools, and tested by movement organizations, Ella Baker became a legendary behind-the-scenes figure during the Civil Rights Movement. Joanne Grant, a SNCC volunteer who produced the documentary film Fundy, The Story of Ella Baker, said that Miss Baker's contributions to the movement were on a grand scale. Who was Ella Josephine Baker, the legendary civil rights organizer and godmother of SNCC? So, let's talk a little bit about Ella Baker. One thing, she was born in Norfolk. She was born here in Norfolk, Virginia, where we are. And her father worked like on steamship or something similar. Was it the shipyard? And I believe the family moved because there was I don't like them calling it a race riot. There was terrorism. There were attacks on Black people and for the workers at the shipyard. And that is how Ella Baker and her siblings and her mother ended up going back to North Carolina, where I believe her family, her parents were from. So she did not spend her whole time growing up in Norfolk. I think her father did remain in Norfolk. But for those of us tuned in who are in the Hampton Roads area, this warrior, this profound woman here was born right in Norfolk. And I feel like Rodney is getting ready to drop a whole bunch of things. No. He's getting ready to tell me about a stump somewhere where Ella Baker sat. And he's gonna be like, have you been to the stump on 35th Street where she gathered around this shit?
I wish I could add that flavor to you, but she moved when she was young. But I will tell you that there is a historical marker, and I believe, I'm trying to think of my walking path, I believe the historical marker in tribute to Ella Baker is right around Gray's Funeral Home on Church Street. In Norfolk. And so I know locally, Councilman Paul Riddick has been big on trying to make sure that we have those type of historical markers. And I believe he was very instrumental in having that marker placed on Church Street. And like I said, I'm pretty sure it's the one that's right there near Gray's Funeral Home for those who know about that historical business and location there. But one of the things that
I want to say real quickly that we have Paul in the building. Jen Uno is here. So Paul is tuned in and he is listening. He said he's late again, but you're on time. And then he's like, really? He didn't know she was from Norfolk, so he's excited about that. And then we have Abdul saying this is some good, great information. So so Rodney, come on with no pressure. I know how you do.
I was going to share something more from this book because I think it was last week. Was it last week we were talking about SNCC? I mean, we've spoken about SNCC quite a bit, and so as we were reading the introduction, just her role, thinking about it as we just described, she was 56 years old when she was getting involved with these college students and providing them with support, and so that just
like Fannie Lou Hamer was in her 40s.
So that we're right there. So just once again, we talk about the role that women played in the civil rights movement that, as you mentioned, is so often underappreciated and overlooked. But there's a piece here in this book, and I do encourage everybody to get this book. But if you don't mind, I just wanted to share maybe a few paragraphs from this book that speaks to the sit-ins and also speaks to her community organizing and the work that she did. So
what page are you on?
I'm on page 54.
Okay.
And so it says in an article entitled "Bigger Than a Hamburger," Baker applauded the idealism of the students and made the case that their protest was about more than a hamburger and a Coke. The protesters sought ambitiously to, quote, rid America of the scourge of racial segregation and discrimination, end quote. She confessed that many schools and communities had not provided adequate experience for young Negroes to assume initiative and think and act independently, which accentuated the need for guarding the student movement against well-meaning but nevertheless unhealthy overprotectiveness. Baker hoped, ideally, that both the adults who engaged with the students and the young activists themselves would, in the end, develop each, quote, individual to his highest potential for the benefit of the group, end quote. SNCC was without financial resources, so Baker provided office space at the Atlanta headquarters of SCLC. The first official meeting convened there on May 13th through the 14th, 1960, with a group of 11 students in attendance. Baker also recruited Jane Stembridge, the daughter of a white Baptist minister and student at Union Theological Seminary in New York City, to run the office. Stembridge, who interrupted her seminary studies to become the first SNCC staff member, wrote a friend saying, quote, "I came here because I too needed to be free, respected, understood. Being white doesn't answer your problems. Being able to go in anywhere does not end your needs." But I really just wanted to focus on the fact that, this article that she wrote, "Bigger Than a Hamburger," because often when we get in these discussions about the sit-in movements, and I don't mean we, you, and I, but we, the community at large, and we talk about the sit-in movement and what it was about and the organizing and the skills and the strength that it took. I just thought it was very interesting that, that Ms. Baker described it as bigger than a hamburger. And it was, as she said, it was about to rid the scourge of what we know we were dealing with, as you mentioned earlier, dealing with terrorism and being denied opportunity. So as I was reading the book, that's just something that really hit home, both because of our conversations that we've had about SNCC and also about the importance of her organizing skills. And once again, as has often been the case, that women in the movement organize the finances that allow for these movements to take place. So that was something that caught my attention in this book.
That's great. And, bigger than a hamburger makes a lot of sense, because I must say, honestly, in my journey as a freedom fighter, I feel that my views on the civil rights movement they've changed throughout the years with my growth. in my age. And I remember being really young and like really, really like child and, thinking, admiring it and thinking that it was great. And also, what was happening to people during that time, being angry about that, but also, having heroes from that time and being proud. Then getting a little older in like young adulthood and feeling like, well, they, having that kind of feeling, well, they're out there doing, and then you gain some perspective. I'm from the South. I am, I currently reside in the Hampton Roads area, and I've been here for a long while, but I was born in Gadsden, Alabama, and I grew up in Alabama, Gadsden and Talladega, Alabama, and I know that type of racism. I've seen it. I did not grow up in the 60s, but even when I grew up, it's a different world down there. And bigger than a hamburger, I say this a lot of times. People will get upset if someone takes their parking space, okay? Whether it's an assigned parking space or not. I know people who they live in a community, and the community kind of has an understanding that the person who lives in this house, they park right here on the street in in front of their houses. I know places where there's assigned parking, and don't let somebody get in that parking space and people will be incensed. So if you think about living in a society that said you are a taxpayer, you are an adult, you have paid your dues in all of these ways, you go to work every day, whatever it is that you do as an adult, and you don't have agency over your own life and your children's lives. But again, you are a taxpayer and you can't move around wherever it is that you want to go. And it was done in very demoralizing ways, extremely demoralizing ways in which this was done. And so it is definitely bigger than a hamburger, because the next time you get upset about a parking space, the next time you get upset about something that you feel like is yours or you have the right, this was my spot in line. I was in line and, I just stepped over to grab this piece of gum or whatever, and you took my space in line. And how we get indignant about things like that and the emotion that evokes. So imagine walking around in a city in which you live, a state in which you live, and you have children who are your children who, you are raising and teaching to love themselves and all these things. And it's like, no, you can't be here. You can't be there. That is not the only thing that people were focused on, but that is a thing that was problematic. And I don't think the parking space people and the spot in the line people would have taken too lightly to that. I don't know that people just would have been like, yeah, whatever with that. Because again, due to the history, that was a lot of the places. Sometimes there weren't places that were even Black owned, that not everywhere, that were, providing those certain things. And so, people were pushing back for dignity. People were pushing back for opportunity. People were pushing back for a lot of reasons that, as she said, was bigger than just being able to have a hamburger. And now we can critique the movement. I think that everything is critique worthy. I don't think anything says that we can't go back and accurately critique it. But at the same time, like you said, it's bigger than a hamburger. It's definitely bigger than a hamburger.
Well, the other thing that is interesting when you talk about being able to critique and being a critic, there was another section in here where it described how much of a critic that Ella Baker could be, to the point that during her years of involvement with the NAACP, it describes in here that it says
what page are you
on? 34. So it says here, Baker never hesitated to criticize when frustrated and disappointed. In those moments, she could be a severe and unrelenting critic, one who aimed piercing accusatory words at the offending parties. In addition to Walter White and Roy Wilkins, who suffered the slings and arrows of Baker's words, some colleagues, quote, found Baker's manner abrasive and her straightforward style annoying. A common word used to describe her was difficult, end quote. She owned this assessment of herself. If difficult meant that, quote, She did not ingratiate herself with those in high positions, and she did not hesitate to speak her mind, even when her ideals were controversial, that she decided being difficult was all right.
And I love it.
The last thing
and that difficult thing is kind of a trigger because we know, certain people, when it's women, it's difficult. And that's a nice mild version of some of the things that get called. Yes. And when it's a man, it's a dynamic, strong leader, or he, and I mean, this is real. If you know me, I love Black people. That's Black men, women, children, all of the above. But, who is it? Ayanna Van Zandt, let's call a thing. And so that's definitely a thing, that is definitely a thing there. So I appreciate you finding that passage. And I love the people who speak truth to power, who are not ingratiated to people, who are in positions of power, as she said. So, and I mean, we need to speak about these women. We need to speak about these women in the civil rights movement who did so much. And most people don't even know their names. We definitely need to. We've already run through, we did Sister Fannie Lou Hamer. Now it is Ella Baker. And we encourage you all to get this book. We encourage you to get this book. Again, it is We Who Believe in Freedom, The Life and Times of Ella Baker by Leah E. Williams. And it's a pretty easy read. But there's some great information in here, and you can sit down and read it with your children. I think elementary on up, middle, high, whatever, and have these conversations and understand. Again, we always say that we are not learning history just to be able to say, for our children to say, I learned about Ella Baker and she da-da-da-da-da, and I know this fact, and I know that fact, and I know that fact. These are connections. These are bridges. There are still things that need to be fixed. There are still challenges that have to be attacked for now and for the generations coming behind us. And these are tools. We talk about literacy as a weapon. We talk about literacy as liberation. So come get free with us. Get free with us, get free among yourselves, free your household. And this is a great way to do it. This is a wonderful way to do it. So we encourage you all again to get this book.
Yeah, and I know our time is pretty much up, but the last thing I just wanted to point out is there's been a lot of appropriate reference and reverence for John Lewis, former Congressman John Lewis, and folks talking about, good trouble. Well, one of Ella Baker's proteges is Congressman John Lewis, along with Stokely Carmichael, Julian Bond, Eleanor Holmes Norton, Diane Nash, who helped lead the Freedom Rider movement. So Ella Baker was powerful. And so when we talk about John Lewis, we can't talk about John Lewis without talking about his mentor, Ella Baker. So this is a good book, and I think it's important for us to understand her legacy and that her work lives on even with us to this very moment.
Yes, and I'm a Stokely Carmichael kind of lady.
I know you are. There's a whole section in this book about that. So yes,
it is, and we don't have time because I wanted to get into. I think that's an interesting discussion period, and I think they kind of laid it out here in very kind of simplistic terms for you to elaborate on. But I think at some point you and I should have that conversation just about those differing opinions and but this was great. I like this book. I highly recommend this book. Add this to your list, and as a family, sit down and read this together. Again, literacy as a weapon, literacy as liberation. Okay. So again, it's been a wonderful night. It's always a pleasure when you come up here, Rodney. I have a great time. Our much love again to our community connector, Brother Abdul Wallace, and all the great work that he and the Golden Fold and the Omegas are doing for the story that he read. That was a great selection. To our young people for the segments that they do with so much passion and power and the dutifulness behind that. Like I said, it's like the ancestors are in them, and they come on there with so much power. And even you guys don't know, it took a lot for them to do that. There was a lot involved in bringing those to life, and they never wavered. They never got tired. They were like, yes, I am here to do this. And we definitely love that. We appreciate them. And then finally, Rodney and I, like I said, I have a great time. This is some of my favorite, getting up here and having these conversations with you, bringing this information to our community like this. It's a wonderful thing. And I look forward to our Tuesdays. So I always, you have the last word there. Wait. I do want to remind everybody that the Literacy Gang shirts are for sale. You can go to clevercommunities.org/official. Clevercommunities.org. There it is, because our team is dynamite. clevercommunities.org/official, and you can get your Literacy Gang t-shirt. You can rep for the gang, and we love it. When you get your shirt, make sure that you take pictures and tag us in those pictures so that we can share them and just see how this gang continues to grow. And with that said, Rodney, go ahead. Can you take us out for the evening?
Yeah, I mean, I guess this will be our last community connection night in the month of February, but we're going to be right back next week in March with more important literacy, more important power, and more important Black history. So you always say that it's not just about the month of February. We just celebrate the birthday, if you will, during the month of February. So I just invite everybody to come on back and stick with us. And I was right there with you earlier, just thanks to the sponsors. It's some great work that they're doing out in the community and services that they're providing. And it's just wonderful to see their support of the Virtual Village Show and the Literacy Gang. So I just kind of want to leave on that, to support those sponsors and uplift their viability so that they can continue to contribute to the community as well. So I'll leave on cooperative economics, if you will.
That's perfect, because we talk about what in Nguzo Saba 365 days a year. I love that, Rodney. We are here because I haven't been mentioning that lately, and I always want to make sure that we mention those principles all throughout the year. So that was great. And we have Brother George, who asked, do they make 5X? We can accommodate what you need. So if you need a special accommodation, then just message us on Facebook, or you can send an email to admin@clevercommunities.org if you need a size that is not listed and you want to represent for the Literacy Gang. There are no barriers, so just let us know and we can make that happen. And so on that note, you guys, we are out. Have a wonderful evening. Peace.